So who's going to organise this? Now, you know, there are more than a dozen campaigns that would be really effective that 10,000 people could do, but there isn't any political party that's doing it. Why? Because the leaderships aren't working to get us out of the European Union.
OK, here's a question from Sarah in Suffolk. It's been reported that UKIP will not stand at the next general election, but might do a deal with the Tories. Is that true?
Doesn't make a blind bit of difference either way. They're both controlled by the European Union. Why bother to ask the question?
OK. Charlie in Coventry says, does this mean no more common law? Where does this leave free men on the land? Isn't all this statute?
Right. Common law was replaced by European Union common corpus juris in 1992. Corpus juris puts the government above the law. The police have shot dead 30 people since 1992, including that electrician.
Jean-Charles de Menezes.
Yes, he was the highest profile case.
Yeah.
They've also killed, according to their own records, which they publish as PDF documents, so you can read them. In custody, the police, since 1992, have killed no less than 1,100 people. That's 30 shots.
That's the British police?
The British police, yeah.
This is in Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland?
Correct, yes.
And England, yes.
Yeah. Not one successful prosecution has ever been brought against the police for any of these murders and deaths. Why? Because under corpus juris, the government is above the law. So it is now practically impossible to prosecute a policeman for anything. That is how much corpus juris has taken over. There is no such thing as habeas corpus. There's the memory of it. We don't have it, not under corpus juris. Fortunately, if you can get in front of a jury, virtually no jury knows that, so you might still get it. But actually, it doesn't exist anymore. The whole of common law has gone. I mean,
interestingly, in the Jean-Charles de Menezes inquest, the jury was directed that it couldn't bring in a verdict of unlawful killing, wasn't it?
Yes, that's right. That's because the government is controlling it, and the government is acting criminally and illegally.
OK. Well, should we talk about treason?
OK. What level do you want to start at? Do you want to start at the top or the bottom?
Well, I think we should start at the top. We've probably upset a few people already, or you have. So
let's go for it then. Right.
I should say, be mindful of the laws of libel, please.
All right. Well, von Ribbentrop was having an affair with Nancy Astor.
That's fine. They're both dead.
Yes. And the Cliveden set, Mosley, the leader of the British Union of Fascists.
Yes, gone. Yep.
And the royal family were all very much together. They were all Nazis. Germans. The royal family, as you very well know, is German. It was George III who took over from the Stuarts in 1750, was it? Something like that. And they are a German family, and they spoke only German until this century. And the king, which king was it? It was Edward VIII, who...
He was the wartime king.
He was, well, no, it was George VI.
Sorry.
Yep. He was forced to abdicate with Mrs. Simpson as the excuse.
Yeah.
Because he was too rabid a Nazi to be allowed to be king when we were going to war with Hitler. And the whole family were Nazi, with the one exception of George VI. No one ever thought he was going to be king because he stuttered and he was a bit further down the list. And so they didn't bother to indoctrinate him in Nazi principles. And so he came to be king, and he and Churchill did a bang-up job in keeping us free for another 60 years. That's all it was, only another 60 years. But, of course, in 1946, they switched the EU from a Nazi basis to a communist basis. And so our Queen was educated by her tutor, Sir Henry Martin, from the age of 12 to the age of 22 in Fabian communism. And that is why our Queen has been so happy and so delighted to sign all 6 EU treaties. And she couldn't wait to sign Lisbon.
It does seem counterintuitive that a monarch would favour a communist policy because, you know, vanilla communism doesn't include a royal family, does it? I mean, the Soviet Union didn't have a royal family. The Romanovs were killed by the communists in 1917. So
yes.
How can that be? How can, you know, how can our royal family be communist?
How can they be keen on abolishing themselves?
Unless, of course, they're going to become queen or king of Europe. Is that what you're suggesting? Will William become king of Europe?
That's another subject. I don't want to get into that just yet. Why do they do it? They're not like us. They've had so much grace, favour, wealth, riches. They don't think like us. And to them, being queen may not be the biggest thing on this earth. The Queen's broken every single one of her coronation oaths, including her ones to the Church of England, which will almost certainly be abolished and rolled up into the Roman Catholic Church, which will be the Church of the European Union. Because
reading on your website, you say that the European Union is a-religious, if you like. It's not a Christian society or a Muslim or any other kind of society.
Yes.
It has no religion. No.
Yes.
It's not like, you know, England is traditionally a Christian society, isn't it?
I don't want to get too deeply into this, but basically, the Roman Catholics have the Queen of Heaven, who is a Babylonian goddess, satanic Babylonian goddess, who's prohibited in the Old Testament. And the only picture of her is a woman in profile with a blue background and 12 gold stars. That is where the EU flag comes from. And I don't want to get into this now, but this agenda has been around for a long time. And
so, sorry, who was that? Who was in this image?
The Queen of Heaven. The
Queen is this Minerva or something, or?
No, she's just referred to in the Bible and in old scripts as the Queen of Heaven.
Okay.
And it's a Roman Catholic Babylonian, and that's where the flag comes from.
Okay. Don't they keep adding stars as more members join?
No. A lot of people wanted to, and they point blank refused to go above 12 because 12 is what is on that picture.
Because the Americans, of course, when they kept buying territories like Louisiana Purchase, they kept adding stars, didn't they? Couldn't add any more stripes because it would have looked like a pinstripe shirt, but they wanted to add lots of stars. Okay.
Yep.
So you're kind of getting off the subject then, really, of treason. You know, are you saying that the Queen has committed treason for a motive then?
Yeah. There's no question that the Queen has committed treason. No question at all. Every Prime Minister or Minister, anyone who's signed an EU treaty has committed treason. There's absolutely no question about it. And they got a bit nervous about this in 1998. So after the MPs debated the Crime and Disorder Bill of 1998, Tony Blair added a clause repealing chunks of the Treason Acts because, of course, both he and the Queen should have hung by the neck till dead. And I wish both of them still do. I just would be so happy if all these people who've committed treason were to hang by the neck till dead, particularly the Queen.
I'm going to have to say it again, I'm afraid. These are the opinions of my guests and not necessarily the opinions of this company or this show or this programme. Thank you.
So, yes, treason has been committed. Now, in theory, the maximum they can do is life imprisonment. But, of course, they committed this before the laws were repealed. So, actually, they are still guilty of treason.
Because they're not, you can't, retrospectively say that